Let's just start this bitch and head right on into Entrapment Island. This is where I think Nina's section is, and I don't remember if this was a bad level or not. I want to say that I usually didn't like Engine's World, so maybe this one might have been better. I don't know. I know for a fact I don't think I like Cortex's. Okay, you know what? I take that back. I don't know. I said for a fact, and now I have no idea. Also, I hope this recording sound. I mean, it should be. And by the way, I'll probably not switch off the Icicle guy very much. Just to let you guys know, this is also a favorite of mine, too. To be completely honest. I love his swipes. If he ever does them. Like, he shouldn't, all technicality, have a swipe move, but I don't know if he's going to do it or not. Probably not. Okay. Alright, well, you know, it's worth the check, right? Damn, that didn't... I thought I was going to stun him, but okay. Alright. In terms of upgrades, I don't know how many are left for, you know, main character upgrades, or, like, main attacks. I don't know how much we got left going, so... Are you fucking... Really? A pit right there? I mean, I'm not surprised, I guess, because at the very least, you know, this is supposed to be a harder level in all technicality. So it would make sense for them to do that. Fuck this. I have a better idea. I'm just going to go down there myself with Crash and then go pick it up because I'm not going to waste time. Fuck with all that noise. And I talked about this a little bit before, but I wouldn't mind like maybe talking about it just a little bit more. So Crash games that I wouldn't mind doing is like the other Game Boy one, the last one. As far as I know, there's only... Well, there's also like Nitro Kart, I think had a Game Boy game too, but eh. I'm talking about like the platformers, that type of stuff. Like, I wouldn't mind... Okay, I wouldn't mind at least trying to do Entranced. But we'll see. And then, of course, you know, Crash 4. And then I mentioned earlier, like, Nitro Kart. But I forgot to mention another one that I would like to do. Well, there's Crash Bash. That'd be kind of neat. Only problem is, I'm kind of at, like, a cutthroat situation. My friend, he wants to do it 100%. And I don't. So, if it's on my channel, then, you know, I get to choose whatever, right? But... honestly, like, I feel like my dignity, my pride for a Crash player kind of hangs on the line. There's also, of course, the Insane Trilogy I would like to do at some point, but that's more of like a... I kind of want to wait for, like, everyone to be here to do it, because we all have, like, this idea of, like, switching off between games. Like, well, I mean, in all honesty, what will probably end up happening is we all just kind of play the game Switch, to be fair. But I think what we'll probably end up doing is maybe, like, somebody will start... Like, I'll start Crash 1, right? And then after that, somebody else will continue on with Crash 1 a little bit. We'd switch off if need be. And then probably my friend will start Crash 2. And then my brother could start, like, Crash 3 or something. Because, like, in all technicality, like, we all have, like, a sort of different favorite. Although my friend's favorite nowadays is Crash 1. As well as mine, basically, so kind of hard to fight over who gets it, but then again, I am the Crash guy, so I guess it makes more sense if I just get the fucking difficult shit. Although, in all fairness, like, Crash 1's not really that difficult, especially on the trilogy. It's a lot more difficult if you're playing the original game, of course, but it ain't that bad, I promise. Just take some knowledge and skill checks, that kind of thing. Checks and balances. The actual Crash 4, maybe I've considered, and then of course, one I forgot to mention was Nitro Fueled. People might have been thinking like I was talking about Nitro Kart and I was talking about the remaster, but no, I'm talking about straight up the second game. Now, if I ever do... Oh, there's also Twin Sanity we still have to technically finish. I mean, worst come to worst, I can always just get back to that spot, because I think... we either have a save file that's close to it, or I can always go get a save file close to it. Like, I can go make a save file close to it. That's not too far in the game anyway, so it's not impossible to get to. But yeah, you know, me and my brother could always go finish up. I forgot you could look down. I forgot about that. We can always go finish up Twin Sanity on our own. And worst come to worst, like if I ever felt like it and he also wanted to do it, maybe tag team racing, maybe. But that's a, you know, we'll see what happens moment. For sure. That shit disappeared quick. And I mentioned Spyro and, you know, Ratchet, all that. Mainly just platformers, but a couple RPGs I want to kind of throw in there too. Maybe one day at some point Mario Rabbids. That'd be a nice one. And then, just the first one, not really the second one. And if possible soon, it'd be more like a co-op Let's Play, so not like a full-on Let's Play, but more of like, I'm not gonna bother with fucking 100% in this area. Fuck this shit. 3 houses would be nice. Which reminds me, I've been going through Fire Emblem Engage again. I buckled down, I said, fuck it, alright, fine, I'm gonna try to go back through this game. I left off on I left off going to chapter 16, I think it was, and I finished chapter 16 just recently. And my dumbass didn't realize the game even had like an auto battle thing. I'm like, you know what, fuck this. I'm just gonna auto battle for like the skirmishes and shit, because I'm tired of doing this. I do them to get levels. But I don't like Fire Emblem Engage very much, guys. I liked it at first, but now I'm kind of coming around to like, nah, I'm not a big fan of it. I'm gonna be honest, I think I prefer 3 houses, but that might be the general consensus, because I think everybody liked 3 houses when it came out. I thought it was alright. I didn't really particularly care too much. I was like, oh, that's kind of neat. And no, it wasn't my first Fire Emblem I played. The first one I ever played technically was, I think, the 7th game, which would have been, damn it, Brave Sword, I think it was called. The one with Lynn. And I beat her out, and that's about it. Yeah, I'm really fucking bad at Fire Emblem. But I did finish her out, luckily with not very many deaths. Well, I mean, I first played it, like, you know, on you know, insert blank device here back in the day, and emulate. Yeah, I know. I played it that way, and I didn't really get very far, and then it came on the Switch service, and I'm like, fuck it, I want to play this game again. I like this game a lot. And then I beat Lynn's route, and that was pretty cool. And Lynn is my favorite character. She's my favorite Fire Emblem. I do have access to play, like, you know, Fire Emblem Awakening, but I just haven't done it yet. What exactly am I waiting for? Who the fuck knows? I got too many damn RPGs going on at once. It's just such a pain in the ass. I tried playing some more PQ again yesterday, and I got tired of that too. It's not that I don't like RPGs, it's just that there's certain RPGs I just cannot get into. And the thing that's annoyed me the most is people think like I don't like strategy RPGs, that I'm too stupid for them. Like, oh, you wouldn't like Fire Emblem because it's too fucking smart for you. You know, you wouldn't like Fire Emblem because whatever reason, whatever dumb shit reason. But I like Fire Emblem, I just don't like the fucking not good ones. I guess you could say. I like the ones that are fun. I mean, you know, I don't think that Fire Emblem Engage is very fun. I think it's not very engaging. By the way, yes, I did see the mojo back there. I'm sorry. Yeah, I was gonna say I don't have another chance to get it. Damn it. I mean, if you like Fire Emblem Engage, folks, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I think it's a fine enough game as is. I'm just saying that I don't personally care much for it. I think it's just kind of, I don't know. There's something about like the character designs kind of throw it off a little bit. They're too cutesy in art. Well, I know this has been a thing that people have bitched about before, but I do feel like the whole going too far to the anime aesthetic is kind of, even for somebody that really likes the anime aesthetic in games, I just think that we're going a little too far with it when it comes to Fire Emblem. I think it's going a little too close in that direction now, and it's kind of a bit of a hindrance a little bit. You can't really take the game seriously anymore. Which, that's not to say, like, oh, you can't take anime stuff seriously, which you totally can. You know, I have before, and I still do, right? There's tons of anime out there I can take seriously. Not JJK, though, of course, but, there's a lot of stuff out there that I can take seriously, but something about, like, Fire Emblem being all about war and then just have, like, a happy face on the entire time, it's kind of off-putting a little bit. Like, I know it's always been sort of like an anime style anyway, But at least back then, they were kind of a bit more sort of realistic about it. Seems more exaggerated. And just a lot more trying to be too cutesy. It just kind of throws me off, you know? Makes me sort of care a little bit less, I guess. That's, again, not to say that they're bad games. By any means. I just want to make that, you know, very clear, because I feel like people just take things I say out of context. But, I mean, you could say that's all in the past. That's just, you know, people have done that before. They don't do it anymore. Which, yeah, sure. You know, that's fair. That doesn't really happen nearly as often as it did back then, but I just want to, you know, cover my bases and make for sure that I'm not going fucking insane. Speaking of going insane, I find it funny that I used to be I wouldn't say a big fan, but I used to have like a sort of pseudo interest in watching Review Tech USA back then. And seeing him turn into a fucking lolcow was like one of the weirdest things I've ever had happen to me that I can think of. Like, it's so bizarre that somebody that I watched back then, while playing Resistance 3, by the way. Yeah, 2011 shit. That's crazy. Well, mostly it came out 2011 in September, but I remember playing the game around that time when he was... And I used to watch Pwn Star, too. Oh, well, I guess we're going up. I was going to go dick around down there, but I guess we're going up then. Fuck it. Okay, fine. Yeah, Pwn Star for hire. I used to like him, and I made a video for him. Because he was like, oh yeah, do like one of those like reply videos with a video of your own. And it was fucking garbage. Not his videos in particular, but mine. Mine were fucking bad. I only had one. It was so bad I had to take it down. I'm like, ugh, this is cringe. I probably could just republicize it. It was a Ghost Recon video. I could just republicize it. That way people can see it in all its full glory and make fun of me. Because honestly, I kind of deserve it. For making a fucking shitty video like that, you kind of deserve it. To be fair. You deserve to get bullied and made fun of for that one. But anyway, I used to watch Rich back then, and he had the same problem that I do, which is something I kind of want to talk about. Where you get like this hint of people that, you know, it's like a small group of people that just leave hate comments or whatever. And then it kind of like gets to you a little bit. You try so hard to pretend like it doesn't for a while, but then it just, no matter what you do, it always gets to you no matter what. It is still kind of hard to shake off every once in a while, but I just kind of, depending on what it is, I'll laugh it off. If it's like ridiculous, I'm like, why would somebody comment this? That's funny. But sometimes, you know, there's always like that one chance where somebody can just say something really weird, and it's like, okay, now you're throwing off my groove. But anyway, he had a big problem with that, and, you know, I didn't tell him to his face or whatever, but I always thought of it myself. I'm like, why don't you just ignore that shit? You know, just fucking ignore it. Who gives a shit? And then, I think this is where things kind of took off. I think all that shit, all that, like, him talking about people exposing him and him just going off on hate comments that probably don't even exist most of the time. I think that kind of hurt him a little bit, you know? I think that kind of fucked with him mentally. To the point where he just became a lolcow, you know? And that sucks, because, like I said, I used to watch him back then, and it just sucks that he's a lolcow now. Or he's been for a while. It's just weird knowing this guy that would do like some news stuff here and there, and even some like tech stuff and talking about games or whatever, would just turn into this shit. Well, same thing with Boogie, you know, like, I used to think his Francis content was funny. I used to think he was a funny guy back then. I thought he was a really cool, nice guy, but now he's changed. And we found out he hasn't been a cool, nice guy the entire time. Who would have guessed? Shit sucks. But it is what it is, you know, not much you can really do about it. Fuck, oh well. Not like I can't just knock these guys on their ass anyway. But yeah, the reason why I want to bring that up is because I have the same problem sometimes. I mean, it's not as bad as it used to be. But, you know, there was always those times where you just kind of get in your head, you're like, man, this is going to get hate comments. Man, this is going to do bad. This is going to do whatever. And you get that in your head, and then you start thinking it's real, right? You start making up hate comments in your own head. And it doesn't help when people, you know, accentuate that, like in real life, where they'll, like where your friends will make jokes about it and be like, oh, wow, why don't you do this? Why don't you do this? Because that doesn't help either. Because, you know, it's like, yeah, I get that they're making fun of the hate comments themselves. But you're still kind of giving in to, like, the idea, like, you're still putting it in the head of somebody that, you know, that is a thing that happens and that you should just listen to those comments and do what they say. But anyway, so yeah, I used to be, well, sometimes still am kind of the same way to an extent. And it kind of scares me a little bit because, you know, if I ever got popular, I'm afraid that even I could become a lolcow, right? Like, that's what scares me the most, is just getting to the point where I get popular enough and then people... I mean, to be fair, all I do is just do Let's Plays, right? But I have a lot of, you know, weird history on YouTube where I think people might look in, you know, look at and be like, that's kind of weird. He said some weird stuff back then. You know, he said the R word or whatever. Right? And then just next thing you know, it's like, now you're a big fucking lolcow. I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking myself too much, but I'm just saying, like, there's that chance that maybe, just maybe, if it happened, if I got popular enough, I'm afraid that it would happen where I would just get, like, turned into a fucking lolcow. Like, the other thing, too, is, like, not even just, like, you know, past video content. It's mostly, even, like, newer stuff, too. Like, I could be streaming and some people could just come in and try to piss you off and they find that funny. I personally don't find me getting pissed off very funny. I mean, there are times where I do exaggerate it to an extent, right? Like, yeah, I can do that, but I don't find the overall idea very enticing. Like, actually getting mad, I don't find that very fun. And I don't think it's very fun that people would not necessarily instigate it, but just, you know, would just laugh at it instead and think it's funny. It depends. Like, there's obvious times where, like, I'm I guess you could say rage baiting a little bit. And I usually try to make it just a bit more obvious sometimes, but there are those days where I'm streaming something and the next thing I know, I'm playing, like, I don't know, fucking a Souls game, right? And then I'm just getting fucking angry. Or some multiplayer things make me mad. I don't know. That can happen. And that's what I'm afraid of. Like, I'm afraid of people seeing my angry side and then using that against me and then make me into a funny haha lolcow. But then again, lolcows are mostly like to be milked. You know, that's the whole point of them. And honestly, the difference between them and me is I would probably just stop streaming at that point. And that's what they don't do. At least they have the willpower to do that. And then you have Christian over there, and well, yeah, you know Christian already. Honestly, a lot of those people could just save themselves a lot of trouble. They just stopped being on the internet and go get a fucking job. Well, the thing is, like, I don't think that. Okay, look, I'm totally with the idea of these types of people getting a job, right? I do, however, think it's kind of annoying whenever I hear people say, like, YouTube is not a real job. Like, yeah, it technically isn't a quote-unquote real job. But I still feel like it's a job enough to the point where, like, you're an entertainer, so, I don't know, would you be mad, you know, say, like, some guy from fucking ESPN doing his thing, like, you guys are watching your fucking, you know, Friday Night Football shit, and then you hear this commentator guy, you'd never tell him to go get a job, but then again, it's mostly because, like, you like him, I get that, but still. I personally am of the belief that YouTube can be a job, in essence. But I do feel like if you're getting shit on all the time, you might want to consider maybe just saying fuck YouTube and moving on. Fuck streaming and moving on and go do something else. Or just stop feeding into their shit, or at the very least, I don't know, in some cases be a better person, I guess. But some people just don't have that mentality, you know? That sucks. They can't learn from their problems. I mean, hell, I'm you know, sometimes in the same boat too. Like sometimes I have a hard time knowing exactly what I'm doing wrong and trying to fix it. And doing a poor job at doing it. It can happen. It can happen to anybody. Yeah, it's just a thing that just kind of sucks. Also, maybe I'm wrong, but I want to say that maybe 750 might be the last upgrade for Mojo upgrades. I don't know. I mean, at this point, we're like one world left. We're not even fucking... Are you kidding? How many in this... This has to be more than 3, right? At this point? There's just no way. And we're going through this many goddamn levels in this one world. That's crazy. So they're... Even though I'm not going 100%, they're still making it hard to the point where it's like, yeah, you might as well... You're already here, you might as well do it. I find that kind of annoying. Like, yeah, sure, it's not forced. You know, this is all optional shit. Of course. There we go. Okay. Yeah, it's funny how I had a topic to talk about for like 5 minutes there. 10, 20 minutes maybe even. And all of a sudden, now I'm kind of like dried out. I'm like, fuck, I don't know. I don't know what I want to... I don't really want to talk too much about the locale shit because it's kind of unimportant. I mean, I'm just, at this point, inserting myself in an equation that doesn't need to be inserted in, right? Because, like, there's nothing... I have no need to be in this conversation much, besides the idea, like, you know, I feared that something, you know, like, if I ever did get, like I said, if I did get, you know, famous-ish, that could happen. But, you know, that's a long ways off. In terms of YouTube famous, like, I don't really want to be YouTube famous. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's an extent to that, right? Like, there always is an extent to everything, to be fair. In my opinion, like, it wouldn't be a bad thing, necessarily. Like, if I was just somehow became, like, a streamer, or I kept doing what I did and people really liked it, and I had a good amount of viewers and fan base or whatever, and I gained a decent size of money or whatever, I mean, I probably wouldn't really... I probably wouldn't, like, outright quit my job or anything like that, but, you know, I would definitely consider doing a lot more YouTube content at that point, but I have a thing where I have a mood, right, that I get into where it's like, yeah, I could do all that stuff. That was weird, but that whole flying thing, or flying fast thing, that was kind of weird. Like, yes, in all honesty, I could... I was gonna try to say, fuck. I don't know. Basically, it'd be cool, but I don't know. I would just give it all up. I would give up everything, and then just... Yeah. But if I was definitely secured in the job, and I knew for a fact that there's, like, no way to really lose this job unless you really do something stupid, that'd be one thing. But the thing is, you know, that's not really a realistic idea. And that's the problem with YouTubers, like, small YouTubers and content creators like me. I'm not trying to say, like, I'm better than them, but, like I'm saying, like, we're all kind of in the same boat to some extent, too. Where you get that mindset of, like, I want to be popular, I want to do this, I want to become bigger and better. And, like, don't get me wrong, that there are people that do challenge the algorithm and are able to get somewhere. Maybe not the farthest they've ever gotten, but well, maybe, you know. There's always a chance you could just break into something, right? I've only ever had, like, a few videos that got popular. But even then, they're not popular enough to gain me subs or even gain me viewers or anything like that. Like an actual audience that wants to watch my content. But they're fine with watching the video, which is fine. But, you know, nothing wrong with that. It's just that, you do realistically want them to watch more of your content because, you know, you want to have an audience that likes you, right? And you kind of want to appease them and all that. Which that's another whole big problem too. A whole big dilemma I have is like trying to appease to a, I wouldn't say non-existent audience, because like I know people do watch my content. I know there's people watching right now, of course. I'm not shitting on you or whatever. I'm just saying like there's always gonna be that point of like no one's actively telling me, you know, don't do this or don't do that. So it's just all in my head, to be fair. Of course, you know, from time to time you do get suggestions for things, but that's not necessarily inherently a bad thing. Oh boy. Sorry I was reading all that, but yeah, it's probably about time. Okay, if I remember correctly... Okay, maybe not as much, but... If I remember correctly, Nina is fucking shit easy. Okay. Oh, there we go. I could have sworn she was a lot harder, but then again, I'm probably getting it mixed up with her console version, which is much harder. Also, fuck Nina when it comes to the DS version. I don't like her in that one. She can do 2 specials? What the fuck? That is wild. Let's see. She's got that one. She's got that... Yeah, I don't know. Huh. Weird. Very weird, indeed. Yeah, I don't take what I say to heart. It's just more so like, you know, there's a lot of things that I want. And if you're trying to be a YouTuber yourself, just keep doing what you want. Keep doing what you like. Worst come to worst, if it's really that bad and you're like, I really want an audience, you might as well try streaming, and try streaming something. Try doing like a challenge stream or something. I don't know. Going a little bit out of the norm could catch people's eyes. They'd be like, oh my god, like a no-hit run on fucking Doom 1 or Doom 2. Or something, you know, or just, I don't know, full cock out on stream playing Dark Souls 1 or something. Something crazy to kind of liven up the content saturation that we're stuck with on YouTube these days. Am I helping with any of that? Absolutely not. As you can no doubt tell. In terms of content saturation, I'm like the king of that shit. Still doing Let's Plays to this day. Even though literally everyone has moved on. I was going to say, speaking of moving on, where the fuck do you go? Oh, okay. Alright, time for Surfing Bird. And then we have one more to go. I forgot that Coco is still here. How do they fail so hard to fight off Crash? He's just a basic Bandicoot bitch. And of course, even though we fought Cortex before, obviously he's gonna have to be fought again. I'm pretty sure. Also, if, like, it's said in Twinsanity, of course, that Cortex is Nina's uncle, quote unquote. But, you know, obviously he makes a joke of like, oh, it's my dog, you know. We already know the joke. I don't need to explain it, but I want to know who the fuck he fought. Like, if that's actually his, if Nina's his actual daughter that he procreated with somebody to make, I would assume. But then again, it's fucking Cortex. He probably made a real lab. But, you know, what I'm trying to get at is like, who fucked Cortex? I'm sure there's people out there that probably would. To be fair, I'm sure there's somebody out there that would fuck Cortex, but. But hey, you know, people want to fuck Crash. Obviously, people want to fuck Coco. That's a no-brainer. I'm sure there's people that want to fuck Crunch. You know. Yeah, I would assume so. I'm pretty sure that end of people probably, you know. I'm sure there's definitely like some Crunch fans out there. No doubt about it. God, these are so fucking boring. And the thing is, like, I think you have to finish at least the time limit to even move on to the next world. It's really annoying. There. They're not really that important anyway, but hey, whatever. So anyway, that's it for World 4. We got, 88% done. That's alright, I guess. Last world, Floating Fortress. Just so I know the names, I should probably... Okay. Anyway, yeah, that's it for this. See you guys next time, and take care, everybody.